starting, actually, with some really shocking figures from the Royal College of Nursing today. A new study has found that A&E staff regularly face being attacked at work, with reports of physical violence doubling in the last 6 years. Now, many have said that they've been punched, they've been spat at, one even had a gun pointed at them. Some hospitals have now been trialling giving body cams to their A&E staff to prevent violence. Do you think that should be rolled out across the country, Cole, or do you think body cams might kind of inflame these situations?
I don't think it'll inflame it, and I think it's good to use as for evidence later on. I don't think it'll stop the violence. I don't think people go wearing a body cam, you know, when they're absolutely off the head on drugs or drink or whatever, or just frustrated. The body cam isn't going to stop them, but I think they would feel more protected. And because of those body cams and CCTV, I watch all the documentaries, like one of them in particular, A&E After Dark or something. The most shocking thing about it is there's more police in the A&E department than there are staff. And she said, this is it every weekend. We have to have a police force here. And just even watching it is shocking. So I think they have to do something, because, you know, nobody should be treated like that in any way. But these people who, to me, still are angels and doing, just saving our lives and, you know, doing the best they can for very little money and a lot of time, to be treated like that, you know, you've got to be the scum of the earth to do that for people like that.
How has it come to this? You know, my mum's a retired nurse. I grew up in the nursing community, so I feel a particularly strong affiliation. Oh, there's my mum there. I mean, what you said, Colleen, they are angels on earth. They pick us up at our worst. They put us back together. They see us at our most vulnerable. And on top of all of that, we're asking them to wear body cams. So not only are they worrying about our nearest and our dearest, but they're also having to worry about their own safety. What has the world come to when we cannot protect our own nurses and doctors?
It's quite performative to suggest they wear body cams, because actually, why don't you just use the money, because it would cost hundreds of thousands to equip everyone with a body cam, then to archive the footage after every single shift. Why don't you just use that money to give them more staff, more beds, more budget, and actually empower and enable them to do their jobs? Because, like you said, they should be the most respected members of our society.
But they're still going to get people in there who are going to be violent. It doesn't matter how much staff are there.
And actually, we're talking, you're saying there, Colleen, about people who are drunk, people who are on drugs. It's not always that. Some of the stories I've been reading, this is nursing staff saying often it is very, you know, calm people usually. We're in a difficult situation. They might be there with a parent who's been lying in a corridor for 12 hours.
But it's
actually, the secretary of the General Secretary of the Royal College of Nursing, Professor Nicola Ranger, said unless the government does something about these lengthy waits, corridor care, and understanding nursing teams, more staff will be victims of this abhorrent behaviour. So wearing a body cam doesn't
I understand where it's coming from, but ultimately, when people are scared, and this makes no excuse for that kind of behaviour, but you get a different reaction, or people are frustrated, their child hasn't been seen, they're waiting on a bed, they're not breathing. You know, panic does strange things to people, and fear and pressure. But is there any excuse for the women and the men who are trying to help your loved ones be on the receiving end of racism, of physical violence, a gun being pulled on a nurse? I mean, we can't just give them body cams. There has to be a better way of bringing people in and out of the service.
I think it's got to be security. So I think
security, and they have a right to say no.
I hate the thought of that, but when my mum was in hospital not that long ago, you know, she had that awful chest infection. She was in A&E, and they just take you into a room with kind of 6 beds and people were in and out. And one of the beds had a curtain around it, and there was a man in there, and he was kicking off. The language was very ripe. He was shouting, screaming, swearing. It turned out there were 2 police officers in there with him. Then I heard a doctor go in saying, you need to calm down, you've got a cut on your head, we need to help you, you need to calm down. He was, you know, And it was terrible. It was terrible, just that atmosphere. He might have had severe mental health problems.
I was just going to say that.
You know, I'm not, again, like Myleene said, not making excuses for people, but you know, there were all sorts. And the staff, I think, they're still trying to do their job, and a body cam is not going to stop someone punching them, kicking them, spitting at them. If you have security, and I hate to think of this, but this is where we are, if you have security, then when someone is kicking off and you think they're about to get violent, you have security in, and you just have to try and remove them or restrain them or whatever it is, and then to keep those staff safe.
And then you have I just think it's always that A&E is flooded with also people that should be somewhere else, you know. So there's mental health, there's people with chronic diseases, illnesses, and there's almost a missing service. But this service is already bursting at the seams.
Yeah.
And it's exactly like you said, when you go to A&E, you're usually absolutely desperate on the floor. And when we talk about people being drunk and disorderly, they're drunk and disorderly because there's other stuff going on under the surface that maybe A&E can't really help with, but another service maybe could.
But you still can't, you know, however sad that is, and I'm sure you're right, you still can't have nursing staff in the front line being spat at, punched, kicked and having guns. We asked you at home, should nurses wear body cams? And 88% of you said yes. 12 said no. We're not saying they shouldn't wear them. We're saying if wearing them is not going to... It will provide evidence that somebody's punched them in the face or somebody's said something racist to them. It doesn't prevent it happening, does it? But thank you very much for getting involved, because we do love to hear from you.